Welcome to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. I'm your host, Lionel McDonald. So let's get into it. I talked to you guys a little bit about what was happening, but um, it's been a week. Today is Monday, the 18th of August. It's been a week. Wearing the shirt still wearing the shirt. Same shirt from the show. But let's talk about Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was to perform here in Toronto on August 11th. A lot of excitement, a lot of buzz to see Lil Wayne. He's on my bucket list of living MCs, and guys like Tupac or Big L. I'll never get a chance to see because they passed away. Big Pun would also be included. Very fortunate to even see the Notorious B.I.G. in a very small show in January of '95 here in Toronto. He barely had ready to die out before this happened. So you can imagine if he had performed with Life After Death as his second album being out. But with all the things considered, we're all excited to see Lil Wayne. And again, I'm thinking before I go back, let me finish this thought here. So other people that would be on my very short list that I want to see. And actually, it was funny. I was talking to my brother about it. So Eminem, probably the top of the list. And I'm not a huge Eminem fan, but I definitely would want to see him. Dr. Dre, he would be another one that would be on my list that I would love to see. OGs, I would love to see Kumo D. I would love to see Scarface. I would love to see Jeezy. Cannabis, I don't know if he would hold a great show. He would be a great opening act. I would love to see second round Knockout Live. I would love to see, Drake and Future, although I'm not huge fans and I am from Toronto, but I'm not a huge Drake fan. I like, as Kendrick said, I like Drake with the raps. I don't like Drake with the melodies. But a lot of people do. And I think as a Torontonian, I probably should see this guy. Young Money Click, he's part of that. So there's a connection with Wayne. People thought he was actually going to show up at this show. So there's a lot of people I haven't seen. But Lil Wayne is on the list. So I arrive at the venue shortly before 8. Tyga is supposed to be on. And there's commotion at the door. And someone utters the words, "This is canceled? You got to be kidding me." So I grab a security guard and it's like, hey, he tells me he doesn't know anything else. No one has announced anything. My brother is already inside. He's been there since 6:30. DJ was spinning, but that's all we got. We got no other artists that performed. And there were supposed to be two other acts before Tyga and then Lil Wayne at 9:15. So I'm already racing through my head. I have a concern that this show could possibly be canceled. And it's like, he's been on a tour. I've seen the dates before and after, or before, of some of the stop, and his show looked incredible. So it's like, how is it possible that once again, the Toronto curse, as some of us call it, that a show in Toronto is going to be canceled? But he should be here. So I take a step back and think about everything that is going on. And then I get a text from my brother who is on the inside, as I'm still debating whether even to go in and get my ticket scanned. And he says, the show is canceled. I get another text message, and there is a posting on the screen. And I'm going to read it to you because actually I still have it. Due to unforeseen illness, Lil Wayne's Toronto show tonight will be postponed. As his fans, he wants to put on the nothing short of the best performances for those that come out. So he's so excited for this one. Stay tuned for a new date coming soon. All previous purchase tickets will be honored on the new date once announced. So, to my horror, and I'm talking to people, seeing people that I know from Toronto, they're all excited to see this show. It's canceled. I can't believe it. But really tugging at my hip hop heartstrings, I start hearing the reaction from other people around me. Some mad, some furious, some want to riot. And that was really only one guy. But the biggest overwhelming thing was sadness. There's a guy that's here. He says he flew his family from Saskatoon. For those that don't know, that's like flying your family from like Idaho and then flying them to Buffalo or Detroit only to have the show that you spent your hard-earned money canceled. So I can't, it's like, wow, I live here. I drove, it's on my way home. I got super cheap tickets and I hit this summer deal where I got these Lil Wayne tickets for $30. And at least I got a chance. At least I got the chance to come see the show. My brother is here, and it didn't happen. So I'm gonna go home. I'm disappointed. I wanted to see it, but like, think if I was in the shoes of someone, and I've been to shows before where I've traveled. I've gone to New York to see Nas at Madison Square Garden, one night only, King's Disease trilogy, plus we got all his old school bangers. If that show was canceled, I literally would have cried. Same time, the Legends of Hip Hop during 50 years of hip hop celebrations, when we got Kane, Rakim, KRS-One, EPMD, Slick Rick, and Dougie Fresh. If that show got canceled, I would have been absolutely beside myself. So I'm now really empathetic to some of these families that have traveled across Canada, have come probably from the US, because this is the closest venue to see Lil Wayne. And the show's canceled. The show is canceled. So when we think about the history, there was a festival that was supposed to happen several years ago. It was back in May. Once again, it was Lil Wayne, and he pulled out last minute. The event was supposed to be scheduled at Downsview Park. It was technically in June. It's supposed to be for kind of the kickoff this summer. And, others were supposed to be part of the show, but it got canceled. So this is not even the first time that Lil Wayne. So I don't know. It's a health concern that Lil Wayne has, and why the show couldn't. There's a lot more questions than answers at this point. To this date, 7 days later, and that's why I was trying in the back of my mind to hold out. Now, this podcast may be a piece of garbage and get totally thrown in the garbage, and wow, the show got booked. It got booked today. So maybe it does get booked today. Today's the 18th of August. The show got canceled on the 11th of August. That's when it was supposed to go down. So maybe we'll find out. But right now, we don't have a new date. And the show and pieces have continued. And what really got to me and irked me is what I saw a couple days later. I saw Lil Wayne online after the show in Cleveland, Ohio. He says, "Cleveland, this one was for you. Very special show to do it in Cleveland." And I get it. He's a Kobe fan. Kobe and LeBron went back and forth. Probably feels good that he was able to now re-perform after the Toronto. Like, I'm trying to put thoughts in my hand and rationalize. But my concern is that there is no notice beyond the Toronto show getting canceled. It's like Toronto's being traded. It's a first-class city in North America. It's the same size as Chicago in terms of population and size, give or take. And there's no acknowledgement for Toronto's show being canceled. No IG post, no nothing. Only thing we ever got was the posting that I showed you. And here it is. You can see it. Here it is for those who are watching on YouTube. And you can obviously hear my frustration if you're listening to me on any of the streaming platforms that you pick up your podcast. But this show got canceled and no one wants to talk about it. Now, this is also not the first time that a show happens in Toronto, or supposed to happen, and it gets canceled. So my brother and I, in the same night, now reflecting on shows that get canceled and talking about bucket lists. And yes, I said, hey, I would love to see, Eminem and Dr. Dre and, Jeezy would be a great show, and Kumo D would be a good show, and just a lot of other people that have kind of thought about it in my head that I would have loved to see them, or would still love to see them, and maybe they'll do another album, and I'll get a chance to see them because I've seen a lot. I've seen De La, I've seen Wu Tang, I've seen Tribe. In many phases of Tribe, I've seen Black Star, I've seen Nas, I've seen Jay-Z, I've seen, like, the list goes on and on. I've seen Rakim multiple times, I've seen KRS-One multiple times, I've seen Big Daddy Kane. I literally left a party to go see Big Daddy Kane because I didn't care. He's on my bucket list and I had to see him. He is a top 5 MC from. I've seen The Roots more times than I can shake a stick at. I've seen EPMD. Now, hey, another guy that passed away. I'm looking at my wall here. Would have loved to see MF Doom, but that didn't happen. But the people that have wanted to see in a group or a soloist, can't forget Mobb Deep, can't forget MOP. I've seen a lot of people. So, but Lil Wayne was on my list, and sometimes you have to reflect that where Lil Wayne ranks is not where, for me, is not where he ranks for some other people. Like, some people, that's their favorite artist. This guy from Saskatoon brought his whole family from Saskatoon because he wanted to see Lil Wayne, and he didn't get Lil Wayne. So I think in that perspective, I really felt bad. But I also feel that this seems to happen in Toronto way too much. So let's go back to a show earlier this year. And it's not a hip-hop show, but Keisha Shante was supposed to perform. Now, if you know the impact of Keisha Shante, particularly on Gen X, Gen Z, even probably some people from Gen Alpha have got into Keisha Shante. And Keisha Shante is an incredible artist, voice, speaks the truth, and girls, women, dudes will sing their soul out to hear this girl. She was supposed to perform at Coca-Cola's arena, which is literally across the road for where Budweiser stage is. All of a sudden, earlier this year, and it was like June, she was supposed to perform and the show got canceled. No notice, like 3 hours before the show, no apology, and to this day, people really haven't gotten a damn thing. People were outraged and went on a tirade of missing the opportunity to see her, and she has not given anyone anything. So these things, for whatever reason, seem to happen and way happen. I'll give you another story, and I you guys know I love to tell a story. I'm going to tell you, this is probably like early 2000, and this was supposed to be a banger. We were supposed to get EPMD headline. This is when EPMD, actually, it was late 90s, because EPMD had just got back together. This was so we were supposed to get Richter Scale, The Joint. This was the Back in Business album. So, in all due respects, this was supposed to be a concert that I had to see. This could have been one of my favorite concerts of all time. And on the headliner, we were supposed to get Keith Murray. Never seen him. Wish I had. Redman by himself. And then also on the flip side, we were also getting Ghost and Ray. So this was going to be an incredible concert. But for whatever reason, and it always seems to be the border. People cannot get across the border for one reason or another. Don't know if they were smoking too many L's, but they didn't get across the border. The only act that actually made it to the venue was EPMD. So when this was announced by the promoter, people lost their mind. But at the same time, EPMD was still going to come out and give them a show. So in the midst of the first two songs, someone throws a water bottle or a beer bottle at DJ Scratch. DJ Scratch didn't do anything. DJ Scratch did what he was supposed to do and come to the show. It hit his equipment. He was absolutely furious, stopped the music, walked off stage. They literally, people were losing their mind because the show had stopped. On top of now all these other artists not making it. EPMD comes back out and does 5 more 6 songs, and that's it. So we totally lost that one because of all of these other artists. But sometimes it's an idiot. We could have gotten an incredible EPMD show, and that got canceled. So let me give you another one. Rakim. Rakim was supposed to be here. 18th Letter was the album that came out. So never. I was like, New York was a joint on that. That's like my favorite song on there. Guess Who's Back? It was the title song. This is the first album he ever did on his own. It was a double LP because you got the best of Eric B and Rakim on disc 2, and then on disc 1 was the 18th Letter. So he was supposed to perform. It was at the concert hall, still standing in Toronto, not used the same way as it used to for hip hop shows, like it was in the 90s. But he was supposed to be there. Next, before they even blew up, was supposed to be the act that was supposed to show, and they showed. People didn't even really get them. They didn't really fit in. Poured water on them. So then the way it all went down is DJ goes back on after Next is done. Have to clean up the stage because these guys were trying to get their sexy on and the whole 9 yards. Girls are screaming. DJ puts on a single. And then I caught it immediately because he played the whole track. When a DJ spins, you never get all 3 verses. And then the fade of the song, something was up. But when the song came on again, and it was the edited version, it's like something is wrong here. So we let it play out, and then eventually it was announced that the show was canceled and Rakim was not coming. People lost their shit. So we got people throwing stuff at the promoter. People ran on stage to chase the promoter off stage. People started throwing stuff. And then the unthinkable. Never in the history of my life would I have ever considered or ever thought that someone would have considered taking up the fire hose and after beating up the sound man, or at least trying to beat up the sound man, hose the entire soundboard down like it's the venue's fault. So in mass chaos with water going everywhere, what happens? People start running. People don't want to get wet. So we all run downstairs. There's a locked door. My 2 friends, Jeff and Dave, on my football team in 1996, were the starting right offensive tackle and right offensive guard. So what did that mean? These 2 guys ran and hit the door and broke the door open, and a flood of people followed. Now, if other people say they broke the door, maybe they broke a different door. I don't know. I watched with my own 2 eyes that these 2 broke this door down and we came out the other side. So, and on the street, no Rakim. Find out a week later on the Mastermind show, they bring the promoter on. The promoter, I find out after the fact, is a guy on my semi-pro football team that I was playing before I decided to follow Foot Locker as a career. I was playing football and semi-pro, and maybe I thought I could make the CFL, but in this particular case, was playing semi-pro and playing football on the weekends. And I played for the Toronto Eagles back in 97. Yes, I am a little older than most, but that's the story. The promoter comes on and tells us it wasn't a misunderstanding. He feels he got taken advantage of. Supposed to pay Rakim 50% when he arrived, 50% when he went on stage. Rakim said no. He says, I need 50% before I even get there. It's like 50% when you get to the airport. It was agreed that he got 50% right away. So Rakim got 50%, was supposed to get on a plane in Newark or JFK or wherever. Promoter went to pick him up. He didn't arrive. He calls Rakim, calls his agent. It's like, oh, missed the plane. He's not coming. It's like, no, get in a car, go to Buffalo or Albany. I will drive across the border and come and get you and drive you back. We'll do whatever it takes to get you to the show. It was agreed that this would happen. Promoter ends up in Buffalo, which was the agreement. Rakim doesn't show. Now, in all of this negotiation, Rakim demanded that he got everything up front, and then he would get on the plane. Promoter was desperate to try and build his name. He agreed. Rakim never showed and had 100% of the bank. Now, that is how the story goes, and that's how it was told. But did Rakim really get his full payment? Did he get, and it was able to recoup it because he never came? The jury is still out on that, and we really don't know how all of that, transpired. I think of another show. There was another show that was supposed to happen. Little Kim, 2 Chainz, Fabulous. It got canceled. It was hot in Toronto. Got canceled last minute. So these things have happened. There's also been other shows canceled for a different way, and it came out. So a couple shows. JDI, Never Ending Story, one of the best albums that we've got in the last few years, was to perform at History. Now, hey, if you didn't know, History, December 2nd, we're supposed to get Mobb Deep and Wu-Tang member Raekwon. They're both doing the infamous and Only Built for Cuban Links as it's the 30th anniversary. If you didn't hear about it, you got to go. They are doing a tour across North America. You got to get on it. I'm sure they'll hit Europe, but they're getting North America first. So both JDI, his show got canceled at History, which is part invested and supported by Drake. So this is at the time with all the beef with Top Dog or TD Entertainment. And then we also then had Sir had his concert canceled. Same thing. Blame Drake, who's a co-owner. That this is the reason why that the show got canceled, is because Drake was involved, didn't want anyone from Top Dog Entertainment in part of it. Then we also got Schoolboy Q. It was Blue Lips last year. This was going to be an incredible show, but all the beef with Drake and Kendrick and all the songs that went back and forth. This one was also supposed to be at History. Now, I don't know why these ultimately got booked at History. We have a lot of other great venues in Toronto that it could have happened, but they got canceled. And I'm just giving the tip of the iceberg. Someone told me about a show that was happening. I can't confirm or deny it's only for someone else's word, but this one was supposed to be Gravediggers, and we didn't get RZA. What kind of Gravediggers are we talking about? This is the horror rap group from 1994 that gave us 6 Feet Deep. How can they perform without RZA? Now, there are other issues like, hey, Dave from De La Soul, Fife from A Tribe Called Quest, they've passed. Now, I don't know if Tribe has really done a show, but Dale has done definitely a couple times, seen them at least twice. And Talib Kweli has come in and done Days Park and done it admirably. It's been really good. We know that Prodigy from Mobb Deep passed away in 2007. Rest in peace, P. And rest in peace to Dave and Fife. But we've now had Big Noin, which is part of the infamous Clique. He's come on stage to help support the Prodigy verses, and whether he does the verse or we get Havoc and him doing the verse, or they cut the song depending on how it goes, they found a way to keep the Mobb Deep brand and feelings alive despite the passing of a legendary MC. So this just seems to happen way too more. And I've given you some. There are way more than that of shows that are coming, that come to Toronto that don't happen. I've heard it many a time. Smaller venues, the artist just doesn't get across the border. We had Conway earlier this year. It's like the second show that Conway was supposed to do. He was supposed to do this one. And was it earlier this year? It was supposed to be with AZ. And he doesn't get across the border. And so excited, got AZ. I went for AZ, but definitely was very interested in seeing Conway. Didn't get him. Now, hopefully, some other shows happen. I would still, like, on my bucket, would love to see Griselda as a Clique. Would love to see Benny the Butcher on his own. Would love to see even Westside Gunn on his own, though I'm a way bigger Benny the Butcher fan than anyone. Would love to see Mac Homie. Would love to see many of these guys together on their own tour. but there's records. Sometimes with the tension between the United States and Canada, I don't know if these guys are going to get across the board and make shows like this happen. There's other shows that we expected to happen and guys never made it. So I've only given you a sample size, but a concert that you invest your money, your time to buy merchandise and all of these things, it sucks. Geez, we've gotten Wu-Tang's shows before, and until 2024, many of the shows that we had with Wu-Tang, we did not get Method Man. Method Man is essentially, as I've told you before on this podcast, if you go back to, I want to say episode 60 or 61, where I give you like the Wu-Tang breakdown. This was done last month of their show stop in Toronto. We got Method Man, and he's like the Michael Jackson of the group. And it was absolutely incredible, a memory that I will never forget in my entire life. The energy from the previous show, because we had just anticipated he wasn't going to be there, was very similar, and it was through the roof. So it sucks when you do not get what you paid for. It sucks when you put your hard-earned money and you want to see an artist and you don't get it. So I definitely empathize with everyone that came out. I know cooler heads prevail, like just trying to have perspective, but I'm alive. I'm healthy. I have lots of things going for me in my life and in my family's life. But I really wanted to see Lil Wayne. And some other people are taking it way harder than me. If this was Nas, I would be furious. I would be upset. But I'm trying to, in my older, wiser years, I'm trying to have perspective that this show didn't happen and it will happen. I'm trying to hold them for their word. This will be rescheduled in the very near future and he will come back to Toronto. So let's see. It's August. Walked outside today. It's 14 degrees Celsius. For those that know, that's way less than, that's like 58 here in Toronto. It is cold. It is hoodie season, the 18th of August. So who knows what this means? A lot of things to figure out, but they got 2 months for me to figure this thing out because, again, Ticketmaster, after 60 days, you got to start asking for your money. Otherwise, you have this 30-day window, and if you don't ask for it, Ticketmaster gets to keep your money. Now, it was only $30, but I know people that spent $300, $350, $400 on the show. People had VIP, which was almost $1,000. So hopefully cooler heads prevail and this all gets resolved and we get the show that we all paid for. But this sneaks rhymes in life. Concerts do not happen sometimes and it sucks. But hopefully this can be figured out sooner rather than later. But that's the story of a concert. If you got a concert that you wanted to see that got canceled, put it in the comments. You know, we got Little Brother touring, doing their last set of shows. Hopefully none of those concerts get canceled, particularly the one in North Carolina, as that is supposed to be the final one that they do. So salute. A lot of other great shows coming this year. We got Freddie the Gibbs and Benny the Butcher met in like this airport in Paris, and seems like they squashed their beef. So maybe we'll get Freddie and Gibbs together on the mic, and hopefully we can solve the beef that they've had, because it was just not good when they made amazing music together. And although they're from other camps, it would be fantastic if they could figure things out. So this is it. Sneaks Rhymes in Life. Lil Wayne canceled, but hopefully this gets rescheduled. That's all I got for you today. Peace.